So, good evening, everyone. I hope all is well. I normally don't do Instagram lives during the week anymore due to school, and now I'm working again. But I have to say this because, this has been weighing on my mind quite some time. And this definition keeps getting conflated and it keeps getting discombobulated. Well, the hashtag keeps getting discombobulated. So here we go. When we talk about defund, what does defund means? To prevent from continuing to receive funds is a verb. And that's the definition I got from Google. Now, when we talk about defund the police, the same definition that I got from Google, it's meaning reducing police budgets and redistributing those funds towards essential social services that are often undefunded, such as housing, education, employment, mental health services, etc. Okay. So that's the meaning of defund police. Now, why I'm doing this live? Because President Obama had basically a Snapchat interview explaining about defund the police, how the slogan itself, the marketing behind it was messed up on the Democratic side, and the Republicans bastardized the slogan and conflated with socialism and those purple district and those red district where those Democrats reside, and they were running and they lost because the Republicans basically bastardized on it. President Obama also said the policy behind defund the police was not explained behind that hashtag. And he's right. So, of course, on Twitter, and I don't know about Facebook because I was not on it, but on Twitter, these so-called progressives, and I don't call them actual progressives and I don't acknowledge them as progressives because they're not real progressives. They don't advocate for social reforms nor reach across the aisle. They're not progressive. So that's why I always criticize them and critique them every chance I get. From my lives, through my live streams on YouTube, and even on Twitter. I do that for a reason. But I'm saying is, they use defund the police as abolish the police. And that's the issue that I have with these progressives using, well, more so these white progressives using defund the police and saying it. They took a movement that was about reforming the police and shifting the funds of the police and use it for their own political gratification. That's the issue that I have with the white leftists. Now, everybody was like, oh, Shantae, you're a racist. No, I'm not a racist. I state the facts. I state the truth. And the truth is, white leftists of the Democratic Party, whichever party they belong to, whether it is Democrat or independent, I can't say Republicans, sometimes they act like Republicans. I say that they keep bastardizing on a movement, they seized on it, and they just continue just to fuck up every slogan that has a positive message behind it. That's my issue with them. So I personally don't have a problem with the slogan of defund the police, even though I prefer reimagine or demilitarize the police, because demilitarize means remove all the assault weapons from the police squad and all the bombing weapons that they have, because police in the United States have so many weapons, more than the average person. And that's the truth. But I like the terms reimagine the police, defund the police. And I think I saw something else on Twitter. I forgot, but she said it and it has to come into mind. But I literally forgot what it means. But I prefer reimagine the police. And yes, we want black women in particular. We want real police reform. We want law enforcement. We do. But we don't want law enforcement to bastardize us. We don't want them to assault us. And we don't want them to racially profile us. What we want them to be is community police. Check on us. See how we doing. On the street, patrolling the traffic. How's your day going? Is it going good? Doing community events. I remember growing up as a kid, you had some community policing. Police wasn't all perfect, but At least there was some community policing. Now you don't have that anymore. So that's why the Congressional Black Caucus, along with then Senator Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and all other congressional folks, advocated and basically presented to you justice and policing. And it was passed in the House of Representatives, and it was sent to the Senate, and the Senate has not put jack shit on the floor. When Senate Democrats asked for that bill to be put on the floor, Mitch McConnell said no. And tried to come up with some pro-police bill on the GOP side, rallied by the only black GOP senator, Tim Scott. And the bill didn't even get the votes that it was supposed to get because it was not real police reform. It wasn't. So that's why that bill has not got passed. And that's why Mitch McConnell, because that bill did not get passed, Mitch McConnell is holding the Justice and Policing Act of 2020. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2020 hostage on his desk. So when I hear these goddamn progressives criticizing these moderates, even though these moderates, they had a tissy fit, and I mean, I understand, but you got to do better in your race. These progressives talking about, these moderates need to do better with their races. No, some of y'all that ran on Defund the Police did not explain the meaning behind Defund the Police. And some of y'all that did run on it, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and Marjorie Jones, don't represent the majority of those people that need police reform or that advocates for police reform. So I'm going to get to the demographics of their what areas they represent. Starting with Marjorie Jones, who just recently got elected to Congress. He replaced Nita Lowe. I forgot her name. And he represents parts of Westchester and Rockland County. So the gender, according to the 2010 census, 49% are male, 51% is female. And the racial makeup is 70% black, 10%, scratch that, not 70% black. His genetic makeup is 70% white, 10% black, 6.1% Asian. And the Hispanic makeup is only 20.7%. The median income is $84,000. Ilhan Omar, who represents the 5th Congressional District of Minnesota. The gender makeup is 49.48% male, 50.52% female. The racial makeup is 70.2% white, 15.6% black, 5.8% Asian, 1.2% Native American. And the median income is $50,000. Lastly, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who represents the 14th Congressional District of New York. That is the east side of the Bronx by the 6 train, like Parkchester and what's another area there? Throsneck and Van Ness and City Island. And then in Queens, she represents Elmhurst, Corona, Astoria, Woodside, Sunnyside, etc. The gender gap is 51% male, 49% female. The racial makeup is 46% white, 11.4% black, 16.5% Asian. And the ethnicity, there's 46% Hispanics. Most of that comes from Jackson Heights, more than from the very east side of the Bronx. It's only like a few, like for example, there's Hispanic people in the Bronx on the very east side that has houses in Parkchester or like near Castle Hill. So I'm just going to explain that again. So Maduri Jones, who represents Westchester, 70% of his constituents are white, while 10.8% is black, 6.1% is Asian, 20.7% is Hispanic. Ilhan Omar, the same thing, 70% white, 15.6% black, 5.8% Asian, 1.2% Native American, while there's only 9% Hispanic. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she has a little bit more Hispanics because it's the Jackson Heights area, but more so there's more white people, the same, like a percentage higher, 46.5% white, 46% Hispanic, 11.4% black, 16.5% Asian. So the point that I'm making is these three congressional folks who's been tweeting all day about defund the police constantly are the same ones that represent a majority of white people. So when they say they ran on for Medicare for all, they ran for the white progressives in their county, not the black people, the white people. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar did not have a good election turnout than Joe Biden, who is really not for defund the police. So what does that tell you? That tell you is defund the police was not properly marketed or explained during the elections, period. They did not explain the policy behind defund the police. So my issue with them is you want to tweet all day, have this smoke for President Obama, who critique y'all or critique whoever was running, in this election, and did not explain defund the police. Y'all got all this smoke for him, but y'all don't have smoke for the man who has the Justice and Policing Act, or should I say again, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2020 on his desk. That's right. Y'all don't have that smoke for Addison Mitchell McConnell Jr. But you got all this smoke for President Barack Hussein Obama. And it's not just only the white leftists I got issues with. It's the black generals that is in partnership with the white leftists. That's right. The Cori Bushes of the world, the Maduri Jones of the world, the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of the world. Yes, girl, you are Hispanic. You ain't white. And Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. Y'all got all this smoke for the former president of the United States, and some of you TV pundits too. Y'all got all the smoke for him saying he's wrong, but y'all not getting at the man who got the fucking Justice and Policing Act on his motherfucking desk and had that shit on his desk forever. And you Twitter activists, yeah, y'all too. Y'all got all this smoke for Democrats, but y'all don't got smoke for Addison Mitchell McConnell Jr. So I'm gonna need for y'all to redirect y'all energy towards Addison Mitchell McConnell Jr. and not the former president of the United States. Keep that goddamn energy towards the GOP. Because they're the ones that don't care about black lives. They don't give a shit. And it's clear and it's evident. We could have had the Senate if y'all fully explained what defund the police means. And for some of the moderate Democrats, you guys get a little bit of criticism because, you should have ran away from the whole, policy behind it. When it came to, do you support defund the police? You should say what it meant and what it mean instead of running away from the fucking slogan. So some of y'all get a little bit of partial blame. A little bit of partial blame. But to the progressive left, the white progressive left again. Keep that same motherfucking energy towards Addison Mitchell McConnell Jr. and Donald John Trump. Because they are the ones that are withholding the Justice and Policing Act. Or, once again, I keep forgetting the name behind it, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2020. So do not criticize the Democratic leadership or the CBC who drafted the bill while you motherfuckers were criticizing the Democrats. Full time. And I'm going to use a good word that a good cis minds use. You abolitionist ass bitches. That's right. The black blue checks on Twitter who so-called call themselves progressives. The black generals, I should say. You had all that smoke for the folks in Kente Cloth. But was y'all there saying the Justice and Policing Act should be passed? No. Y'all wasn't. So keep that same fucking energy for Addison Mitchell McConnell and Donald John Trump, the outgoing resident of the United States. So I'll just leave this with you. Keep your eyes on them bastards. Until then, have a good night.